All right, so peace, bro. Let's start from the root. Who was Alan Doyle, and how did you become known as the number four?
All right. Well, name's Alan Doyle, aka the number four. And I have plenty other AKAs I jokingly say, but when it comes to the number four itself, I I used to play soccer, and
Mm-hmm.
like I had different numbers over the years, but there was one year where I became, I picked four because at the time seven was taken, so I was like, all right, well, four is a pretty cool number, and then all of a sudden, um, in school, like in high school, like
Mm-hmm.
Broken Arrow, I actually I was just messing around on the book cover. Like I was actually like drawing on the book cover, and like I was trying to do like my best kind of old English kind of drawing that we used to do, and then
Mm-hmm.
all like I drew it. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty dope, and and then all of a sudden, I showed friends, and they were like, yo, that's cool, and after a while, I just kept drawing it, and then all of a sudden I decided to draw it on my like forearm or something,
Mm-hmm.
and all my friends were like, "Yo, that's awesome!" Like everybody loved it except for my dad. Reason
Yeah.
why, like, well, my dad, he was just like, is that a gang sign or something? And I was just like, or a gang tattoo? I was like, no, like, what gang? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was just like, get that off your arm, and I was just like, it's not a gang, Dad, and even my brother defended me there. He was just like, it's not a gang tattoo, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what gang is in Broken Arrow, but yeah, that's basically how that was. But I mean, my dad accepted it many years later, and he's cool with it, yeah. But that's basically how number four came about, and just from soccer to this, to now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I should have asked you, but and I heard you mention BA. So are you from Broken Arrow?
yeah, I grew up. I wasn't born there, but I grew up in Broken Arrow as pretty much kid to teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get to graduate from Broken Arrow because honestly, I had too much fun. I was having wasn't really paying attention to anything in school, and around that time, my mom, like, she had, like my grandmother passed away, and then my mom had to pretty much take over the house in Indiana. So basically, she had to leave, and all of a sudden, my dad was living in the Jinx area, the South Tulsa Jinx area, and I had to go live with him, and that's when I had to leave Broken Arrow to go to Jinx, and honestly, I hated Jinx, so I
Is your mom from Indiana?
yeah, so I was born in Michigan City, Indiana.
Okay.
Mhm.
And when do you remember when your family moved to Oklahoma?
I think we moved. I, I'm trying to remember. I think we moved probably after I was either two. I was probably three. We moved to Kentucky for a year. Lived over there for a year, and then my mom got accepted into ORU, so
Okay.
that came here. First, we lived in Tulsa, like South Tulsa, for probably I can't remember how many. It was probably a year, probably. So, and then after that, that's when I found a house in Broken Arrow, and that's where I grew up.
How old were you when y'all moved from Indiana to Oklahoma? Do you remember? Were you a
Uh,
child? Were you a baby?
yeah, I was a baby, so I might have gotten the years wrong or whatever. So I think I was probably two when we moved from Indiana to Kentucky, and then two to three, Kentucky time, and then I think we got here by the time probably three, maybe four. So it was around that time, like when I was three or four.
Okay.
So
Okay. Because I was gonna ask, was it a different adapting? But I mean, you were a youth, so you wouldn't probably remember then.
yeah, I wish I knew. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'd say, you know, my brother, sister, mom, dad, they could they would tell you the answer. I just wouldn't know. So yeah.
Indeed. So I mean, you've been in the Tulsa music scene for a while now. You know what I mean, for some years. When did your journey in hip hop officially begin?
Um, as far as like first creating music, I think that was probably about, let's say, 1999. And I wasn't even like rapping at the time. I was just working on like I was to be honest, I was bored. You know,
Yeah.
like when I first started like making taking little samples from like Microsoft Windows 98, you know, like little sound bites from that, and I would open up the sound recorders that used to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just fill up the screen with all those, and basically just, you know, like just chop up one little sample of like some sound, and then I would just piece them all together, and then I would just be like, okay, like this is a cool little song I made, and it wasn't even mastered or anything like that. I mean, it was kind of like maybe like some of it turned down, but it wasn't like properly mastered, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then like I'd say about 4 years after that, or 3 or 4 years after that, that's when I first decided to start recording,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have a actual microphone at that time. I was using a broken headphone from like
Yeah.
probably Radio Shack or something, or maybe Walmart. So I would just take that little broken headphone and just, start rapping with that. And again, I didn't have any mastering, sound, you know, equipment or just, the software at that time. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna rap like this, and that's pretty much how it started until, you know, then I got people that help me out with like, you can put this on your computer to help out, and I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, so yeah, it's been like, as far as like working on music, it's been about 26 years. Um, and like, yeah, I didn't get to join the scene until about maybe 12 years after
Okay.
that.
Yeah, because I see you. I see you've done a lot of shows, but what was the moment that made you say that this ain't just something you do? You know what I mean? You realize that you had a talent. You realize you were an artist. You remember what moment that was?
Um, I mean, it's a bit of a tough one because I have, probably 2 or 3 moments, that, that define that. Like, I want to say like, after, I want to say 2010, because around that time I was working on music and I was getting to perform it. This is before I even started doing shows. I was able to perform it at like karaoke nights, and um, like the karaoke dude, like Rick Barry, he would just let me do my own song, and then because of that, a friend of mine who's a local tattoo artist, Kel Turpin, he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Hey man, like I have a show coming up, at my shop," and he was like, "Hey, do you want to perform?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah." Like,
Yeah.
that was like my first show, so I say like that was definitely something that helped me get in the door, and I'd say, I want to say, maybe a year or two after that, I want to say, I know there was a show that I did in, at the old, what do you call it? It's not a music venue anymore. It used to be Blackbird on Pearl.
Mhm.
Actually, it was called Eclipse at that time.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I remember I did a show there, and like it was it was crazy, like how everything just, like that place wasn't even that huge of a
Mm-hmm.
place, but if you got like 30 people in there, that's great. But I say there was probably about maybe 50, 60 people in there, and I, of course, there were a lot of artists who were on the bill too. They were in the crowd, but they were getting hyped too. And I remember, like, there was one, like, man, well, you know the song "Spectacular Music."
Yeah.
I did the, I did that song, and I just remember like the moment when that song came on, I just remember like a whole bunch of like a lot of people in that crowd were like they were going crazy when they heard heard it come on, and all of a sudden like man, people just they lost their mind, and I was like, all right, gotta do the gotta make everybody jump, and that was the first time.
Yeah,
Um,
because that was a great song.
yeah,
It's a classic.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. I watch that music video every once in a while, so yeah, that's
And
pretty.
thank you for allowing me the opportunity. That was the first video I had ever been in. So I appreciate you letting me, you know what I mean?
Hey, you're welcome, and thank you for saying yeah. So yeah.
I appreciate that.
I was gonna say, I say the best moment I've had was actually, today, 12 years ago today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was the Center of the Universe Festival in here in Tulsa, and I remember that. I can honestly say that was the greatest show I ever did, um, and that was pretty wild because it was like maybe 40, 50,000 people at in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and after One Republic played and people were walking around, and that's when sometime after that, um, I got to set up um, at a tent over on I think Brady and I'm trying to remember it was on Brady Street, Brady in Boston, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And man, like got to do that show, and we packed out that tent, and it was packed outside of that tent, and it was just a whole bunch of people just going crazy. And I've never had a show like that ever since. And that I every once in a while I'll still have people telling me like that was the greatest show I locally I've ever seen. So
And
I'm
40,
like,
50,000 people, you sound like you brought almost the whole town out.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it
They
felt like
all
it.
did, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It felt like it. Yeah. So yeah.
Who were some of your biggest influences lyrically, or you know what I mean, like in the music when you first started making music?
Um. Let's see. As far as like when I first started, as far as local, I mean, I didn't have many. I really didn't have an influence locally, but like definitely like like say mainstream wise, like
Mm-hmm.
um mainstream or independent. I would say like I was always a fan of Guru, like Gangstar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love his music and like just how poetic, down to earth. Like just true to himself, how he was. He was definitely one of my favorites, as well as let's see, I've always loved Bone Thugs and Harmony and
Mm-hmm.
Wu Tang Clan. Of course, Public Enemy is another one. Like Most Def as well. Most Def, Common. Um, it's just like quite a bit of artists. I've kind of been influenced by over the years.
You
Um,
seem like a lot of conscious artists as well. A lot of, you know what I
yeah,
mean, spoken words. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, I've always picked up a couple of things here and there, from them, and then later on, like of course, I got to hear Johnny Polygon for the first time. Like it was probably like 2003 or four, I think, when I
Mm-hmm.
first heard him.
So
And
I
I
don't
was
even know what that is.
Johnny Polygon. He's from here. He's
Okay.
from Tulsa. He's definitely gone on to. He did a lot of great things. Honestly, he got signed with DJ Green Lantern, who was I believe
Okay.
Eminem DJ at the time. Um, he also appeared in Grand Theft Auto 4. Um,
Okay.
he yeah, he worked with Kid Cudi. I knew he knew Amy Winehouse as well. Um, yeah, he's done quite a bit. As a matter of fact, he's still making music now, but he's kind of like on a different journey. Like kind of like a healing journey because he's
Mm-hmm.
sobered up as well. He's sobered up, and now he's working on music, and he's also gotten into acting as well. So yeah, so he's done quite a bit, and he's still doing it. So yeah,
It's a lot of talent in Tulsa. You know,
Uh,
I just feel like there should be more love spread in Tulsa.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of people here, like, they don't realize that we got a lot of things, going on for ourselves. We got a lot of artists who are doing things or who have done things. Just, we have a rich history of music here. So
Hmm. Music, actors, athletes.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
it's crazy, but we do have that. It's just we need more love here.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Like, a lot of people from, say, out of town, they'll be like, whoa, y'all here, like, Tulsa, like, y'all know about this place I didn't know about. And slowly but surely, a lot of people outside of here are finding out, like, how
Hmm.
talent we got. So yeah.
Even the last few Juneteenth, seeing the people come from out of states coming here,
Hmm.
you know, knowing about the history, it's like it's amazing to see how much. You know what I mean? How much? What's the word I'm looking for? How much? The eyes are on Tulsa right now.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
we're
what I mean?
gotten a lot of attention, which is great. um I didn't make it to the last Juneteenth, but I was there for the bike rally,
Yeah,
and
I,
there was
I
a
went to that one too. That was beautiful.
yeah,
That was
oh, that's
beautiful.
awesome. I loved it. Like, man, there was a lot of people from out of state.
I went
The
around taking pictures of all their biker jackets because I wanted to see those different emblems. It was
Yeah,
just so beautiful. You know what I mean? I enjoyed that one. I think
yeah,
that was the best one we've had in a few years.
man,
My
I want to go back. I want to check.
Nobody got hurt. It wasn't no foolishness. And like you said, you had the biker crowd. You had the Yoruba Elake tribe out there. I mean, it was a great event. I think that's the year David Banner came down here.
Yeah,
Yes, that one. I think that one was the good one.
yeah, absolutely. I love that one.
But how has growing up in Tulsa shaped your perspective on music and personality on you personally? Well, you from Broken Arrow, but I mean, as far as growing up in Oklahoma, I guess.
um as far as, like, growing up in Oklahoma, like, like growing up Broken Arrow, and then maturing in Tulsa, yeah, it's definitely helped me be like, okay, like, I don't want to say like it could always be worse, because I've gone through, like, personal struggles, like going homeless and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
yeah, then trying to, like, maintain whatever, sense of, pride and all this stuff. Like, basically, it's definitely one of those, like, I've learned to be very, you know, I I learned to be humble, like certain things,
Hmm.
like, hey, like, there's worse things going on, and,
Hmm.
elsewhere. And, it's like, of course, my heart goes out to them, you know but it's like, there's been good things that have happened here as well.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think it's like, I want to, still focus on the good stuff that's, going on, not just in Oklahoma, but, like, the world too. So
I felt that because my past background, X Street knucklehead. You know what I mean? Like, and then being where I'm at now, like you said, humble. I've been homeless. You know what I mean? And before I was homeless, I'm not gonna say I would judge them, but I looked at them a certain kind of way.
yeah.
You know what I mean? To
Hmm.
where once I was in that situation and I got to actually build with those people and hear their stories, never judge a book by its cover. You never know what somebody's going through. People could have came from a whole other state and are starting fresh, you know what I mean? And so you just never really know, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
going through that and overcoming what I've overcame, I've lost a lot of friends. And so to be here, yeah, like you said, it could be worse.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
thankful
And
that
I've,
I have
I've
the path.
a lot of friends myself, so I
Yeah.
know exactly how it is. So, I mean, it's kind of weird, like if you go through something yourself, like something terrible yourself, you get to see how many friends, you know
Hmm.
you thought you had. You see how they disappear, or all of a sudden you're starting to do good, they disappear that way as well, because they don't like, you know this
Change,
yeah,
growth.
change.
Mhm.
They don't, that you're trying to do good for yourself. Like, they liked you when you were down here rather than, you know higher. So
And that's family too. Because me going through my elevation, When I was doing stupid stuff, everybody showed me love.
Hmm.
I said, hey, it's time for us to get our act together. Let's clean up our community. Let's hold ourselves accountable. Or we can't hang around you no more.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
can't get around that no more.
That's it's pretty wild how that works, but that's just that's how I don't know. It's people, man. It's
But like you said, I'm humble because as I still watch people out here still doing stupid stuff, still getting themselves tricked off in these streets, I'm out the way. I'm
yeah,
working. I'm handling my business, taking care of my business. My daughter love me. I have my child when she with me. I'm not stressed. I'm not angry. I ain't got to look over my shoulders. I don't got to worry about police jumping out on me no more. And you know what I mean? All that. I'm glad I'm not a part of that environment no more.
yeah,
I love my peoples, but just that environment. I'm glad I'm not a part of that structure no more.
yeah.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's best to get away from certain things to so you can actually grow. So yeah.
Yeah, like Kendrick Lamar from what is it from a butter what is it from caterpillar to a butterfly?
Oh
I
yeah,
had to a butterfly. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. You have to be able to move around so you can spread your wings.
absolutely. Yeah, that is true.
But if you can, I want you to, cause I know we've had groups like Lethal, 918, Critical, all these different groups in the early years. You know what I mean? And you've been in the game like you said for 20 some years. And so, can you paint a picture of what Tulsa's hip hop scene was like when you were coming up?
Um, I can say so like when I first started, yeah, I didn't make it out to the downtown area yet. I was doing a lot, I was doing some shows in like the midtown area, and I was doing things over at like a little small place called Reverb, and
Mm-hmm. You know,
it
revert.
was like little small underground shows that were happening, and they would happen like maybe like on a Monday or Wednesday or something like that, and those were like a nice little like proving ground kind of thing where it's like you didn't have to worry about getting paid, like you weren't there yet,
Mm-hmm.
and of course that wasn't what it's about. It's just like, hey, like, are you, you know, like, are you willing to cut your teeth to, get get in, get in the scene and try to take it a step further, And I'd say like, you know, those little humble beginnings, those definitely, got me, got my foot in the door, and
Right.
then of course, I want to say like things started to get better. Like I guess going up to the downtown area, and then you know get my foot in the door there, and like things were real cool. But I can't say it was like the greatest because there were some artists they didn't like me. I'm cool with them now, but it's like
Yeah.
they didn't like me either. It was just the whole like who's this dude, and like that kind of thing. So it was just like that's gonna have its challenge as well. It's like not everybody's gonna like you, but you know, still
Yeah.
just gotta work through it though.
You said the magic word. Well, the word to my next question. I was going to ask, what were some of the challenges that you faced trying to get on earlier? You know what I mean, when you first came in to the music industry or the music scene.
Yeah, I'd say like yeah, a lot of jealousy, and not just from fellow artists, but like people who you thought were friends. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like basically like a lot of people who are just gonna leave out on you. They're gonna be like, yeah, this guy's he's he's a star now. He thinks he's too good for us, and it's just like, dude, like what you talking about, man? Like,
So they
yeah,
claim they support you, but they really don't.
absolutely, and that's something I learned early on, where it's like you thought they were gonna be your fan, and man, they are gone. So basically that was something I learned, and then as far as like dealing with you know like jealousy or snide comments from a few artists here and there. It was just like, man, like I I know like and a pastime of hip hop is beef, but like I was just like I'm not even gonna try to like take it there. I'd rather just use that. I'll fuel that, and then just like you know like focus on trying to make better music, trying to be a better performer. Just pretty much that way. So and after a while, a lot of them were just like, you know what, like I'm sorry. Like they apologized to me and were like, hey, we good. So that's just how I was. So
What was it that kept you motivated to keep creating when the spotlight wasn't there yet?
um, I mean, let's see. I'd say that some of the songs I was like, there's times I produce, like music, and then you know, like I would just constantly think of like something to say, and then after that, I'm like, okay, well, that's got a good sound to it, so I might as well just write something. I would get inspired by whatever songs I would have, or just like whatever experiences I would go through, and I would just just basically just do what I can to just write it down in my notebook and you know just do it that way. So
Indeed.
it's just it was just whatever influences I have, like or feelings I have. My bad.
Yeah, yeah. What does longevity mean to you in the industry that favors trends?
It's interesting because the hip hop does have trends, like especially. I mean, of course, nowadays it's the trends thing is pretty tough, but hip
Hmm.
hop has always had a trend, like throughout the years, throughout the decades. There's always been some kind of trends, whether it's whatever you're wearing, like if you got, say back in the days, like you got the freshest Kango Adidas shoes, whatever, like you got those, or then all of a sudden the shiny suits and like chains and all that stuff, or basically the sounds of artists, because there are a lot of copycat artists out there, and that's been going on for a long time. Where if you have one great sound, like say for instance, let's bring up T Pain, like
Hmm.
auto tune into the game, and then all of a sudden everybody's doing auto tune, and
Hmm. Hmm.
that's always tough because now you're expected to do what they're doing, but you're trying to go against the grain and be like, no, this is what I sound like. I'm not gonna try to do what they're doing. So
Yeah, yeah.
so it's always been that's always a challenge, but there's always still a crowd. There's a crowd that will appreciate the fact that you're not going you know along with that. You're staying over here and staying in your lane and you know pushing
That's like
out what you can.
for me. It's like sharing information, sharing history, sharing truth, like I do on my YouTube. That's not
Yeah.
for everybody. A lot of people don't want to know what's going on in the 50s, 60s, and even way back before then. A lot of people
Hmm.
don't care about it. I mean, they don't care about our history. But there are those people that comment in the videos, great video. Hey, I didn't know that. Thank you for the information. Hey, keep
Yeah.
doing what you're doing. So yeah, the spotlight might not be on me, but there are those who say, keep going.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I know you went through that same thing.
Yeah. And
You know?
those people, they're your people. So yeah,
And
like the
most
one,
of them are strangers.
like, and that's a huge thing. Like
I love it because
friends
it's
who walk away from you. There's a certain stranger from who knows where, and they'll be like, I like what you're doing. And it's like, all right, cool. Like you're my people then. So that's what it comes down to.
when I saw that there's people in the UK, and shout out to the UK people that watch this. You know what I'm saying? But there's people in the UK that watch my channel. You know what I'm saying? I'm way here in small Oklahoma, but
Yeah,
my channel is getting watched in the UK.
that's what's up.
So I salute that. You know what I mean? That's the strangers, those who want it, those who want to hear what you have to talk about in your music. You know what I mean? Those who want to hear that sound, because it's not
Absolutely.
your music isn't about the violence and the destruction and all the you know what I mean the propaganda going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like to, I mean, we hear it all the time in music. Like,
Mhm.
you know, like shooting or whatever, that kind of stuff, or drugs, or degrading women, and all that stuff. It's like
That's the trend right now.
it's a trend, and a lot of that's it's been a trend for a long
Hmm.
time. I'd say it it plays itself out. It really does, and that's where you gotta find people that are just like, okay, I want to hear this guy's perspective on, like say, you know, the political climate, or basically what the music industry is doing to artists, or like, or if they, or it could be happy, like how the family's doing, stuff like that, or just anything else other than the toxic trends that are constantly being shoved down our throats, basically. So it's
Exactly.
yeah, it's always a struggle against those, but there's a way to to get out what you're saying, what you're feeling.
Um, let's start. All right. So I started. I asked about the number four, so I want to talk about Spectacular Four if we can.
Oh yeah, spectacular. Yeah, yeah.
The video still holds weight, as we said earlier. You know what I mean? But what do you remember most about filming that day?
um I know we filmed about, let's see, how many places were we at. Remember, we were going around different places, like the
You were
downtown
down. Yeah.
station. Um, let's see, the then Crystal Pistol, which became the Yeti, and now it's Empire Slice Pizza. Um, Mercury Lounge was another. The Doghouse, the old Doghouse, which is a donut shop now, I think. But that's the scene you were in. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I'm sure there was another place. I believe, I'm trying to remember where else. But yeah, it was just filming that video. That was like, it was real cool because, of course, that was my first music video that I ever did. And,
Oh, okay.
and like, I never thought that would be the first video. I thought it would be another song, but like that one, it that made me like that gave me like excitement
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is this is actually happening. Like this is like I feel like starting to feel established, and just doing that video, like just thinking about that video is just like, man, like that was such a fun time. Like that was incredible.
Yeah, because I remember I did the little DJ scene, and like I say, thank you again for allowing me to be in that. You know what I mean? That was my first time in the video. But do you remember how that scene came together? I know it was me, you, Kuno, and Hector. But
Yeah,
like,
Gavin was there too. I remember.
yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to remember like exactly how that was. I think so Wabo Hacha, shouts to him. He directed the video. Um, I remember uh, he placed us certain spots, like me like at the stairs or something, or close to the stairs, or maybe I was on the stairs there, and I just remember Hector being like right there, wearing tank top. He had a shorter
Hawk,
mohawk at
yeah,
um, like Kunu in a FUBU jersey. I remember that.
yeah. We both had the football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
Yeah,
that was style. You know what I mean? We had style. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. And from what I
uh,
like, that was different from a lot of hip hop videos that were going on at that time. Like a lot, I was told a lot of them were kind of like, not like, no disrespect, but it was kind of like the same old thing where I come around and all of a sudden it's like, hey, like we're just having a good time, like this, it's what I'm rapping about. We're having a good time here. This is like,
and you saw a lot of unity. You saw a lot of nations together all in one video.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely,
So that's the thing I think was also beautiful about it.
yeah,
You know,
like, you know, me, you, like African American, of
yeah,
course,
you're Kuno, you know what I mean, native and
native,
Mexican.
you know,
I mean,
of
you had a couple
being,
whites in there. I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. And there were plenty more people that were, you know, different ethnicities, in that video. So it was like it was just bringing a whole bunch of people together, and that's what made that video just special or spectacular. So yeah.
Looking back, what did that video represent for you? You know what I mean, as far as artistically at that time.
I think it was like what I said. Like it was just exciting because it was the first video I ever dropped, and I do remember like after it came out, a lot of people were just like, "Yo, who's this dude?" Like, "Yo, okay, like I'm digging this." Like this is that new flavor here. So and
Let us talk about me.
video,
Yeah, yeah, you got it. I'm hearing it in my head. Yeah, that's
yeah,
a good song, bro. I
yeah,
might end up dropping that in here. I ain't gonna put the whole song. I know I can't because I don't want to copyright the issues. But
uh,
yeah,
I wouldn't mind it. So yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have to let them hear some of that in this video. Uh, do you feel like visuals still hold as much weight now as they did then?
um, it probably not as much, and that's maybe maybe that has to do with like well, kind of like trends, because say with whether it's Instagram, TikTok, like a lot of people just love to scroll. YouTube still has a really good maintaining thing. They still have what they have. Of course, music videos nowadays they don't hold as much weight as when they were on television, like say MTV. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Well, I was actually talking to someone a while back, about Michael Jackson. Like, I remember Michael Jackson would have like a world premiere video, like a world premiere. Like we would see that after school, where it just like be like 4 o'clock or something, and all of a sudden remember the time music video drops, and it's on both MTV, BET. I think it was on VH1 as well, but I just remember it dropped at that time, and you got to see it on multiple channels going, back and forth. It's like whoa, and that was like a huge thing back then. And then I remember, you see stuff like Buster Rhymes, when he was working with Hype Williams, or just anybody working with Hype Williams at that time. Like that was like a huge thing back then too. So like yeah, music videos definitely, like I can't say they died, but they don't, you know, they
Hold the
haven't
same.
held much weight like they
Yeah.
used, you know. But I feel like that can turn around though.
How would you describe your style today compared to when you first started?
I say my style now is definitely there's a lot more thought into my lyrics. Back then I was just rapping to say whatever, but it's kind of weird because like I would go back and listen to like my old stuff, and there were some there were some things I was saying back then where I'm just like, who's that guy? like like who's that? Like that's clever. Like that's good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there are some things I listen to from old me where I'm like, okay, like I damn that was good. So but like now, since I've gone through quite a bit, with like life as far as like whatever struggles I've had, and just basically just seeing the world, as now, mature age, compared to when I was younger, you know, because I was just trying to learn the world at that time. Now I'm just like, okay, I see what's going on. So that's pretty much where I am now, where like I'm just giving you all my experiences. It's like, giving you wisdom in a way. So it's basically that's where I'm at now, where I'm just rapping wisdom and experiences. So
Okay, so that really fall into my next question because I was gonna ask, do you consider your music more expression or education or both?
I would say it's definitely expression. there's a little bit of education, but I'd say there's still a lot of expression, but it's like a mature expression rather than immature expression.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I'm at nowadays.
What themes or messages do you try to like keep included in your work?
Um, I try to keep included like authenticity, like just staying true. Because a lot of times in hip hop, the phrase "keep it real," like that gets tossed around, and it turns out the people who say they keep it real really aren't. They're not keeping it real. They're
Hmm.
just either being told to tell this story and not their own. Um, it's like yeah, this guy didn't go through what you know what he went through. He's telling someone else's story or just
Hmm.
stuff like that. Which ghostwriting does happen. That is a thing. Um, but I feel with I don't know, just I my thing is just I'd rather just be you know authentic and try to be upfront as possible, and at the same time still try to keep it you know keep it enjoyable to listen to.
Right.
Now there's gonna be songs where it's gonna be like that wasn't upbeat, but I hear what he was saying, so that's what I'm trying to do is just try to be still authentic as possible.
Are there any specific songs in your catalog that you feel like was your truest self? When you go back and listen, be like, yeah, that was me right there. Or, you know what I mean?
Let's see. That's a tough question because I've made a lot of songs. Like, yeah, that's a tough one. Man, I don't know. I mean, I even dropped an album, a few months ago, where a lot of it is like, of course, me being mature now, still going through whatever experiences I went through. Um, yeah, I'm sure in some years I'll go back and listen to a format and be like, oh, okay, like that's interesting. Like that was good.
Yeah.
But if it was like songs I made back in like 2000s or something, um, man, that'd be tough. So I'm not sure which songs like really truly stick out. That's that's a tough one to answer though.
What separates you from other artists locally? What makes your sound different?
um, maybe maybe it has to do with things I experience. Like
Respect.
pretty much that, and also I've a lot of times people try to put me in a box of being some. A lot of people say I'm like this old school type of rapper, which is like, yeah, old school was dope, but I've always been. I've never really stayed in the box of the old school sounding hip hop. I've always been versatile, so
Yeah.
I've always been those like I can rap on fast beats, I can rap on medium beats, slow beats. It could be trap beats. It could be crunk beats. It could be hi fi. It could be boom bap. It can be bankhead bounce. It could be anything. I could
Ready for it? Yeah.
yeah. So I've always been like I've been consistent on trying, of course, staying true to myself, but I can rap on whatever beats I can. So I'd rather not just stay in one box.
What advice would you give to the young people trying to come up as an artist in the city?
It's much like what I was talking about earlier. How friends leave, because I've seen it myself and I've seen it with other artists where I've seen artists who have come up and they would have a lot of friends be there for them, and after a while, you know, through different circumstances, like artists or friends leave, they just
Hmm.
don't support them anymore, and not just coming to shows. It's just they stop supporting them, whenever they drop something like either music or a video or new merch or anything like that. It's just that's something you just gotta you know just be mindful of. Friends are just gonna leave. That's it's an unfair thing, but that's just life because we all have certain things we got to take care of. So like so basically, when friends leave, then that's what it is. But when strangers show up, take
Yeah.
advantage. Like be good to the strangers that love your music. So be good to them. So yeah, like don't lose them.
You know, to them become your number one supporters.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because they'll be the ones that are like, hey, I heard this guy right here, and you gotta check him out, and hopefully
Hmm.
that could spread like wildfire. And man,
They're playing you in their car, on their tablet, on their device, and they're from, hey, who was that?
yeah, that's actually a cool feeling. Like people would buy a shirt from, say, like Massachusetts or something, or or
Mhm.
just you know, or they'll be like, hey, I heard your music on at a friend's house. I was told by my boy JB in OKC. He was on tour with who was it? He was on tour with Brother Ali not too long ago, and he said like yo like I have a couple people come to my show, and they said like are you from Oklahoma? Like we listen to Alan Doyle. And I'm when he told me that I was like whoa, okay, like that's dope. So
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I love it. I love things.
How do you stay grounded and creative in a time where music moves so fast?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, as far as moving fast, I mean, I've always been like I've always been one of those to stay at my own pace.
Hmm.
Um, I always know that you can't rush art
Yeah.
because I know there's well again a trend. There's artists who just want to get out you know so many songs or so many albums in a year,
Hmm.
or you know, and for some reason, I guess some fans will be like, "Oh, he hasn't put out a new song in 3 months. Let's forget about him." And my thing is like, if you have people that you know that truly support you, they'll wait. Like they'll wait on you. Because that's I think that helps with longevity and you know as well as results too. So like my thing is like I just rather just stay at my own speed. Everybody else everybody else thinks it's a sprint. I've always said it was a marathon. So that's how I see things. That's how I've been operating.
What role does spirituality or personal discipline play in your creative process?
Um so I grew up I grew up of course my family we went to church growing up. At a local church that was over on Memorial, 88th and Memorial or 85th, called Higher Dimensions. And of course, the whole thing of like, of course that was something that definitely kept me. You know, I can't say like I'm a great example, especially
Right, right,
now.
right.
But that was something that I did bring to me, where it's just like, all right, like there are certain things that's like, okay, like I get what's going on and all this stuff. And also like people I've known since going to that church, I still see every once in a while where it's like, okay, like they know who I am. It's just the whole thing of like, it's like, hey, like I know you from that place. Like you still doing good. Like I know there's people that still follow teachings and all that stuff.
Hmm.
But it's just like, hey, like I'd rather not just. I mean, I'll have my little wilding out moments at the time, yeah, at times. But my thing is like, I don't want to just. I I can't say I've seen the demonic side like up close. I know about it. I've probably seen it from far away, so that's probably it. And I'm just like, I'd rather not go there. So yeah, so, so I'd rather just like, all right, I'll keep whatever humbleness and whatever spiritualness I have over here, and I'll be good. So,
Yeah, yeah. How do you want the city to remember you?
man, let's see, uh, I think I would love for them to remember me for the work I've put in, um, as well as and, someone who helped the scene get to where it is today. Because I remember when I did get in, especially like downtown area, there wasn't much happening, um, and even like there were some venues that weren't allowing hip hop, and I helped bring in, you know, bring in hip hop. I helped, it's like, hey, like I'm not one of those violent, kinds of artists. Like I'm bringing something different, and a lot of people, a lot of people know that. Um, I guess in a way, with the way of the world, like a lot of people do, you know, maybe there's like a short term, like memory kind of thing,
Mhm.
and then you have to remind them. It's like, oh wait, oh he did do that. Okay, so my thing is like I'd rather just have people remember me, as far as like someone who, you know, did his damnedest to keep things going in this scene, and basically like whatever progress happened, it's like hey, don't forget about things I've done,
Mhm.
because I know I helped out. So it's like just don't forget. So yeah,
So,
that's. I mean, there's probably more to to say. I'm trying to think of more, but just just don't forget my hard work and and the doors I've helped open.
yeah, respect. Yeah. So, what's next for you musically, personally, or just in terms of your legacy?
Um, well, I did drop an album a few months ago called Format, and I'm trying to keep that album rolling. I'm working on. Actually, we did shoot a music video for my song Catchphrase, which is on that album.
Okay.
That should be coming out pretty soon. And then, like, as far as like shows go, I have a pretty stacked August. So I know I got like a show in Broken Arrow and Tulsa in the same day on the 9th. And then the next week, I'm going to be out in South Tulsa, 16th. And then I'll be in OKC on the 27th. That's a Wednesday night. And then I'll be making my Missouri debut in Missouri. Well, of course, Missouri. Missouri debut, Missouri.
Yeah.
But like at Missouri debut in St. Louis, for the Paint Louis Festival. So I'll be that. Um, then sometime after that, I know I got the Neon Prairie Festival in September, and I'll be back at the Tulsa State Fair on October 3rd. So I got quite a bit coming up.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say is stay tuned. I might be working on another album, hopefully, and like I said, I take my time with stuff like that. So maybe I'll try to do, you know if I can get it done by next year, cool. If not, that's okay. So, but I'll just I'm still working on music, and if anybody's got features that they want me on, then I mean, don't rush it all at once, but just Yeah.
If they want to collab, how can they reach out to you?
Um, so I have a website, tn4ad.com. Of course, it's short for the number four Alan Doyle. Um, so basically, tn4ad.com. There's a little contact area. You can reach out to me there, whether it's for booking or maybe for feature info or something like that. There's always that.
Can they get merch?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little tab for merch as well. There's discography, merchandise, events like my shows. Of course, there's a contact as well as some of my past articles, like media, whatever. So like the Fox 23 interview I did a few years ago, that's on there. So basically, just you know all all the info is right there, and just stop by.
Indeed, brother. I appreciate you giving me your time, man. I really do.
Oh,
Like
thank
I
you very.
said, yeah, opportunity in that video.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I see. I need to go watch that video again. So
Yeah, but like I said, man, thank you for your opportunity and your time on this channel, and we're gonna get this video. We're gonna get you over 100 views on this video. I know for sure we're gonna get this video up there. We got to. But I look forward to possibly doing another one with you in the future. You know what I mean? Let's talk about, you know what I mean, these shows you had coming up. What those was like. You know, get a part two.
yeah, yeah, I'm totally down. I'm I'm one of those where like I can tell stories about past shows that I've done. So I try to keep those entertaining. Because a lot of people, I know there's artists that don't tell stories about shows or but I guess in the social media side now, there are some artists that are coming out and be like, hey, we had a great show last night. This one lady did this and
Yeah,
fan this and it's like the crowd was incredible. So I I do tell stories from time to time of past shows on social media, and I can definitely tell you some stories. So yeah.
okay, indeed. So yeah, we're gonna try to make a part two happen. But yeah, like I said, appreciate you, bro, and I'll
Oh
be hollering at you later.
yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you for the interview, and thanks.
Indeed, it was a pleasure, my brother. Indeed, it
Absolutely.
was. It was.
Number four be causing trouble. Yeah, 918 is in the building. Guess what? When you talk about me, y'all better talk about this. This ain't like that other junk, but your people know it's bumping in your trunk. Spectacular music. You can come and kick it like soccer, cause everybody know I got the spectacular music. And I ain't trying to make a quick buck, but if you haters are, I don't give a flick.